just ate. Hi, welcome to Foodie Mom-versations. I'm Tessa. Today we're going to do the fastest skillet meal you've ever seen in your life. It's all from stuff basically that you keep in your pantry or fridge, and it's just something you can throw together like super quick on a weeknight that maybe you have an extracurricular activity going on, or if you're just getting home late, or if you're just hungry and don't feel like doing a whole lot that night. So it's what I call, we call it burrito bowl in my house, but it's really like a twist on a hamburger helper if you don't want to use hamburger helper or chicken helper or whatever. So it's really fast, and I'm just going to go over with you really quick the ingredients that you need for this. And really a lot of this is interchangeable for just anything you might have in your freezer or pantry. But tonight I teach dance, so I only have about an hour to get dinner done, my kids fed, get changed, and head down the road to teach my kiddos some tap dancing. So to get started, I'm just going to go over everything and show you kind of what I pulled out for tonight's skillet meal. And again, this is the chicken burrito bowl skillet meal. So I had some rotisserie chicken that's pre-pulled, and you could do that with anything. Again, you could use a pound of ground beef, is also really good. And this is actually, I usually use a pound of ground beef in this, but I forgot to lay it out. So today it's a chicken skillet instead of a beef skillet. So this is about a pound of pulled chicken breast meat from a rotisserie chicken, and Walmart actually sells this pre-pulled now, which I love it because Mom-versation moment here, my baby, my 15-month-old, loves chicken, and so it just makes an easy meal if he's just being a picky eater or something, to pull out some rotisserie chicken from the fridge and give that to him. He also loves when my husband smokes chickens, and we use that a lot too. So that's the first and the main meat part of the ingredient. You can also make this as a vegetarian skillet and not have any meat at all, and it'll still taste super good. What I have on the cutting board are actually onions and bell peppers that I had diced back in the summer when I had these growing in my garden. I had diced them when they were starting to go bad, and I froze them in freezer bags. So those are kept in my freezer. But if you don't have a garden where you grow those vegetables or do anything like that, you can buy them pre-frozen, or you can just buy fresh, and that's actually the best, most delicious way to do it. But if you are just in a rush and don't have that, you can keep some frozen in your freezer, and it's good to have just some aromatics frozen and ready to go. So that's what you have here is diced green bell pepper and diced onion that we grew this past summer and diced up when they were on their way out and froze. And then I had a can of reduced sodium black beans. I like the reduced sodium stuff basically on anything because I want to control the salt in my meals. And then I have a can of corn. And again, if you have this fresh, it's really good. If you have this just like some frozen corn, you can use that. Just open the bag and throw it in the skillet, and that'll work great too. And then I also have some Uncle Ben's ready rice. This is the Spanish style. If you're not doing like a taco seasoning type of skillet and you're wanting to do more of just I don't know, a normal savory skillet meal, you can use the butter rice or anything like that, but I use the Spanish for this meal because it lends a lot of flavor and it's just super quick. And you'll just prepare that as it states on the back of the package, which is basically to vent it and do 90 seconds in the microwave. And then this is just a little bit of olive oil. Since I'm using a pre-cooked chicken breast, I don't want to, it has no fat to render to cook all these veggies in, so I'll do just a couple tablespoons of olive oil to get these veggies going. And finally, we have, or not finally, but almost finally, we have a taco seasoning packet. I use the mild taco because my kiddos eat this. A chicken fajita packet would be really excellent with this because it's chicken. Or if you just have cumin, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, and probably some cayenne in your pantry, just do a seasoning mix with that and season your food with that, and it's going to be just as tasty. But if you're trying to be quick, or if you've left a list for someone who doesn't usually cook in your household to do dinner that night, this will work great. I keep a couple of seasoning packets like this in my pantry all the time, just as a quick go-to. And then we top the end of this meal with cheese, with shredded cheese. And I use the Mexican 4-cheese blend this is Kraft, and it's just sold at Walmart. And I just sprinkle it all over the top, and I'll show you at the end what that looks like. So jumping right in, when I throw the veggies in the skillet, I'm gonna add some onion powder on the top, salt, pepper, and some cumin, just to give them an extra boost of flavor since they're frozen, and just kind of get them perked back up. So I'm gonna actually let you see a zoom in on the skillet, and we'll get started making this super duper quick meal. Okay, so I've just lit the fire under the pan, And I'm going to start in with a little bit of that olive oil we talked about. And that way we can give those veggies something to get worked up in. And again, this is a closer view of my frozen green bell peppers and onions that we grew in the garden this past summer. And I usually, when these veggies are like looking like they're about to be just almost start to ruin, I go ahead and dice them up and freeze them. Before that, we just eat them fresh and they're so good. So those are going right on into that pan, into that hot oil. And I use a cast iron skillet for this, y'all. It's a ceramic sealed cast iron skillet. I love cooking in cast iron. It has a good heavy bottom. It manages the heat really well. And this skillet especially, I love. You can see I've really seasoned it and used it all up. So as those are kind of getting broken up and worked back in, I'm going to add just, if I had to call this anything, I'd call it about a half a tablespoon of salt, just a pinch of pepper. And like I told you before, we're going in with just a little bit of onion powder, and you can see just kind of sprinkling it kind of lightly. I would say just only about a teaspoon. It's not very much, but there aren't very many vegetables there to kind of season. And then we're going to go in with just a shake of the cumin as well. Just about that much. Again, we have a seasoning packet for this because this is supposed to be just super simple and easy. If you wanted to just do salt and pepper, if that's all you have over these veggies, that'll be enough to get them going and at least release their flavor. Okay, so I let my vegetables, especially when they were in the garden, they're really aromatic before I freeze them. I kind of like to let them just sweat to about a quarter or halfway. I really, really like to have a little bite left in my veggies. I don't like them being really soft for this meal because there's a lot of texture and color in this skillet meal. So I usually just let them go, like I said, about a quarter, maybe almost half of the way. And then we're going to start dumping stuff in, y'all. It's literally just this easy. So I'm going to get this rice going in the microwave. Oops. Yeah, 90 seconds on that. And then the next thing I'm going to go in with is the chicken, which seems a little backwards. You don't want to dry out the meat, but none of this is going to take long enough for that to matter. Oh, and also, I forgot to tell you when we're doing the ingredients that you do need a can of diced tomatoes. And just like in my first video with the pasta, I use a can of the Hunt's fire roasted tomatoes. So while this chicken is kind of getting warmed through, I'm going to kind of break this up a little bit. And I'm going to go grab that can. Just while this is we'll have to break this up when it warms up just a little bit. It's kind of huge. Okay, so these are the fire roasted diced tomatoes, the Hunt's brand. That's the one I use. I don't know. Sometimes I use the bell pepper mix that has like the bell peppers mixed into it, just because I feel like it adds just a little extra flavor, but not really much. If you wanted more of a spicy skillet meal or a spicy version of this skillet meal, you could definitely use like a can of Rotel. Shut up, microwave. You could definitely use a can of Rotel instead of the diced tomatoes, and that would actually give it a nice little kick. And again, I don't want this chicken drying out, you guys, so I'm going to break it up a little bit, kind of as it warms. Okay, we're going to fight, me and this chicken in the skillet. Okay, you know what? It'll cook down a little. It's a losing battle. Okay, so in we go with the tomatoes. And that gets kind of all that good stuff that the bell peppers and onions put on the bottom of the pan as they were sauteing. That gets all that good stuff kind of picked up off the bottom of the pan. And you get all that flavor added back into your dish. And you can see the chicken, like it'll start breaking up. Again, I've done this with ground turkey. I've done this with ground beef. I've done this as a vegetarian skillet meal. It's really such a versatile meal, and it's just the quickest thing ever. I'm adding a little bit of salt back in just because we did add those tomatoes and some chicken. And then we're going to add our can of corn, our can of black beans, and I drain the corn, and the black beans, I drained kind of the excess off. There's still some juice in there. And then a little bit, just a pinch of salt, like that much, over the top of the black beans, over the top of the corn. And that rice is done in the microwave, but we're not going to add that until the very end because we just don't want it to turn into like mush. Now I have this mild taco seasoning that I'm just going to dump all over it and give it a good little stir. It's literally like the fastest skillet meal ever. Well, now I'm fighting with the taco seasoning. Okay. And then I just kind of combine all of that. And we serve this in tortillas. That's why we call it burrito bowl. My kids eat it in tortillas, but I eat it just like a chili. I just eat it right there on the plate. I love it also because it's very healthy. You got a lot of fiber in here. You have a lot of protein in here. And so it's a really easy way just to load the kids down with some veggies, some chicken or some beef. And it's just kind of like a very easy sell for my kids, this meal, even though it has a ton of veggie and stuff in it, just because they love that it tastes like tacos. So I'm really just stirring that up and letting that seasoning packet kind of meld in and kind of work its way in onto all the vegetables, the chicken. And I'm still just kind of going through and breaking this chicken up. If you weren't in such a rush and you had a little more time and you wanted to shred this chicken beforehand, that would be fine. But this is real time and real talk, you guys. I actually am teaching tonight, so I didn't have time to do that. They're getting it this way, and that's perfectly fine. They like it. I'm fighting with this piece here. Okay, so that's kind of worked in. And it's literally that quick and that simple. I'm just giving this one more stir around. And you can see like some of those diced tomatoes have kind of given up some liquid. You had a little bit of liquid in the beans. Oh, we lost a corn. You had a little bit of liquid in the beans that kind of gave up some flavor and juices into this. Okay, so that's really starting to break up and look good, but I don't want to go too far on that chicken because, again, like we don't want to just dry stuff out and be cooking the heck out of it. So I'm going in the microwave, and I'm getting that Uncle Ben's ready rice. And it's hot. It's ready to go. We're dumping that right on in. And again, that stuff is shelf stable, so it can stay in your pantry. Like, if you know, for example, like you're going on vacation or something and you know you'll be back like right before a school night or a work night, this is the kind of stuff to keep on hand because then you can just throw together a quick meal if that's what you're planning on doing, if you're really not going through fast food somewhere or that kind of thing. So I'm just incorporating that rice, and some of it's kind of a little chunky. You want to break it up in the package with your fingers before you microwave it. And really, it's literally, that's it, you guys. That's literally the skillet meal. All I do now that everything's incorporated is I turn that heat down. Actually, in this pan, I can turn it all the way off. I take our cheese. That's the Mexican style 4-cheese Kraft. And I'm putting my hand in the bag, but that's because it's my house and I can. We're just going to make a huge mess all the way around the pan. It's not a rush to dinner unless there's a little bit of a mess, right? And you'll see this is really finely shredded cheese, so you'll see how quickly this melts down. I'm going to say we did about half of that 8-ounce bag. I mean, it wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings for you to do the whole bag, but we're not today. Because with all these veggies and chicken, I plan on eating this relatively guilt-free. We'll put the lid on just a second. All right, y'all, and there you have it. The lid was on for maybe 2 or 3 minutes just to get that cheese nice and melty. You can see it's kind of bubbling in there. Everything is cooked through. And, I mean, that literally takes like 15 minutes. It's like the fastest skillet ever. And you can see, oh, look at all the goodness in there, guys. And there you have it, guys. That's the finished product. Delicious, healthy, and super, super easy and quick. Literally, your kid could make this. Maybe your husband or wife that doesn't cook very often could easily make this. And most importantly for me tonight, it's done in less than 20 minutes. So I'll put the grocery list for this in the description box below the video. And please comment if you have any questions. If you like videos like these and want to subscribe to our channel, just go to YouTube and hit the subscribe button or follow us on Facebook at Foodie Mom-versations. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next time. Yum.
It's super duper yum.